Hi.
Hi. All right.
So,
I guess we'll start with introductions.
Well, my name.
I am
I'm
Brittany West.
I am Araceli Olguin from California.
Catherine Moore from New Hampshire.
And I'm also from New Hampshire.
Oh, cool. So you guys can actually visit the campus area?
Yeah, I'm like 5 minutes from the school.
I'm in Laconia.
How fun.
I'm in Icky, Laconia. Yes. But so we have an agenda I can see. Who wants to start?
I can go first.
Okay.
So I chose the Cullen Regional Medical Center, and that case study, they used an app and recorded their discharge summary for the patients.
Oh.
And what they did was they were able to provide live recordings of discharge instructions between the patient and either the caretaker, the caregiver, or the nurse using a HIPAA compliant app that is used on any smartphone devices or a computer. And it shares the captured conversation that the patient can look to for like references later when they go home. If they have any questions or anything, they can kind of go back to that app and review their discharge summary. And they kind of noticed an increase with patients understanding the post-hospital instructions and actually decreased the readmission and ER visits by 30%. They started to use this app because they were finding that traditional packets with multiple pieces of paper and information was not as effective for the patients. So they kind of brought this in, and Joint Commission actually labeled it as best practice using advanced technology. And with the patients, patients experienced that they were more engaging and empowering for the patients as well as the family members at the time of discharge. So what actually happens is the nurse will sit down with the patient and say, you know, we're going to record this so you can review it later, and they'll give the patient the instructions. And they found that if the patient feels that they're being recorded, they're going to pay more attention to what is being discussed rather than just kind of sitting there and taking it in like it's, you know, a normal thing. And they listen more closely, and it also makes the nurse or the practitioner speak more clearly and make it easier for the patient to understand because they know that they're being recorded and it's going to be looked upon later. The app also provides pictures as well as links to other resources for better patient understanding. And the organization also has the ability to audit which patients actually viewed the material from the app, as well as which patients access the app frequently. That kind of would give them a flag that that patient might not understand everything that was given to them, and actually have a staff member call that patient to see if there's any questions that they have or anything like that. So I thought that they can, you know, see who's actually reviewing the app more than one time to get their information. Let's see. And they can also set up auto text reminders for patients, giving them like task reminders, or, you know, make sure you follow up with your primary care doctor, etc. And it increased the HCAHPS scores and actually they noticed in a period of 6 months, it actually gave a 7-point reduction in admissions in that 6-month period when the patients actually accessed that information. And 100% of patients were glad that that resource was available to them, being able to have it recorded for better understanding. And their caregivers actually, 96% of the caregivers actually found it to be extremely useful. So that was my case study. Anybody had any questions?
That was informative, actually. I think it was really good.
Thank you.
It's kind of similar to mine, but not quite as thorough as yours. If you don't mind, I'll go next.
Absolutely.
Okay, mine was done on Cape Coral Hospital. And it's kind of an interesting thing. They started this, Scott Cashman started a CEO blog. And it focused on the team, and it brought out feelings of trust, hope, and inspiration, not just with the patients, but throughout the staff. It focused on knowing what each person had for a job throughout the facility, which that's really important. And even I'm in healthcare now, and I think it's important that we all know what's going on, whether we're in a nursing home setting, a hospital setting, a rehabilitation setting, or in-home. We need to know what's going on. Very, very important to know what each job is, because every person is a member of a team for every job. Mm-hmm. So he reached out to the CEOs that suggested that he used a quote, use own voice. You know, basically reaching out to families of employees, patients, and having this blog, which introduced perspectives throughout the facility and direction, meet the goal for optimal healing and environment. It also includes a forum for understanding each other's jobs, gives an idea of how important each other's job is, and the family's benefit. The outcomes of it were that the improvements with the staff and the physician were good. A steady rise in patient experience scores ensures teamwork, emphasis on healing, support team, employee are sharing healthy lifestyles and that's really important for employees to do that, which is sharing different health styles within and without and beyond the facility. Provides collaborative medicine, promotes health and wellness throughout workplace, and there's a forum that discusses ecological sustainability. I think it's a really good plan. I like it, but I like Brittany's better, to be honest. Yeah. And I can continue with this. And I think a blog is really good if you want to just do, and I think this is basically geared more towards employees and how we understand and respect what they do. But I don't think it really hits as much on the patients or the residents or the clients. So I think Brittany's is better. And as soon as I was looking through my notes as she was talking, I realized this is very good for in-home healthcare.
Absolutely.
But I don't think it supports patients.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I mean, I think yours is good because I think it's kind of hard for each employee to kind of gain an understanding of somebody else's job and what they do. So I think it's great staff-wise to keep everybody informed because, I mean, patient experience, number one, it starts in that work environment. So if the other employees are kind of familiar with what everybody else is doing, that's going to bring up the patient experience. But focusing on just strictly the patient experience, I mean, having that continuing of care once they're home, I think kind of brings everything all together.
You know what? It's funny that, you know, in the last 2 years, I've seen my client fill out surveys. I filled them out myself. And I think they're so important. I think
Oh
follow up
yeah.
with the patient is so important. And I think it's great that we know what each other's jobs are and how important they are. But more importantly, too, we need to focus on the kind of care that we're giving our patients. So I really like your plan a lot, Brittany. So far, I haven't
Thank
heard
you.
the other one yet.
Same here. I think it involves employees and patient. That's
Mhm.
what's so great about your app. It's great. Mine's not, I think mine was on a USC Irvine Healthcare. So reading mine already. Only because mine just had to do with just a department of the facility. So it was oncology unit. The patients were returning for treatment and were assigned new nurses all the time. They weren't aware of their unique, like, personal needs. And so let me just stretch this out. To address these issues, what the facility did was they started to assign a primary nurse to every admin patient. This created like a stability and personal treatment resource. The nurses were able to meticulously review the patient's plan of care, address the patient's family and answers with any questions. So this new implement, when they did that, when they were assigning personal nurses to these patients that were returning, the hospital ranked 87% before that. And after the implementation, they ranked, they ranked 58 before that, and after ranked 87 on their surveys. And they also increased their satisfaction, improved their communications with the nurses and patients, and they felt more involved. And then the only thing that I put as far as like my case being the case to choose, I just put, I believe my case study is a strong example of a program that improves patient experience because assigning a nurse for every unique patient creates a good, consistent care, a compassionate relationship, reduces fear and anxiety, and ensures more like a more painless memory because you know they did such a good job before. They're gonna expect the same great experience. So
Exactly. No, I think that's great. I mean, I've been in the healthcare field for over 10 years. So I think, you know, being on both ends and being a patient as well as being an employee, I think having, when a patient walks in the door and is familiar with, you know, the nurse that worked with them last time, I think that is a tremendous, you know, help for that patient because, you know, nobody enjoys going to the doctor's office.
no.
And so, you know, walking in and seeing a, you know, familiar smiling face definitely eases anxiety. Absolutely.
Yeah, but I don't really, I've been in the field for 15 years and I do in-home private care. I've done it for a long time because I love continuity. And I agree with both of you. Continuity is important. We unfortunately still don't have it in nursing homes. We've yet to see it in rehabilitation. You know, I mean, we want to see it. It's definitely important. I'd like to see it more. It would help more. It absolutely would be a success rate if we had continuity, but I don't see it. And I don't know why I don't see it, but I don't. And I'm disappointed in that. In New Hampshire, I am definitely disappointed because I think that that makes a difference.
Absolutely.
Because if you know your resident slash client, patient, whatever, if you know them, you know what to expect, they know what to expect, it takes the anxiety away. Without that, you know, it makes them anxious. If you have Alzheimer's disease or you have Parkinson's and you got somebody different coming in, touching you differently or telling you something differently and you don't have the same thing every day, I don't like that. And I don't
And
think, I don't think it works.
yeah, and it decreases, you know, their ability to progress and get better.
Absolutely.
Because they're constantly worried, and who else am I going to see? How many other nurses am I going to see? And so having that very, consistent care by the same person is definitely, yeah, I agree. It's definitely better for the patient.
I think that in healthcare, no matter where we are in healthcare, whether we're in a hospital, whether we're in a nursing home, or we're at in-home healthcare, we need to have continuity. I love to see that. And I love to see, familiarity, you know what I mean? Just going in every day. I want that person to know what they're going to expect every day. And if you look at the European health care system, which I've studied, they do a lot of that. And I like that. And I like both of your studies better than I like my own. I think my own more focuses more on, which is important, what everybody's job is, because you need that in-home respect. But I think in the long run, we really need to know how the patient feels when they're coming out of it, when they're coming out of the hospital or a nursing home or a rehabilitation center. I think that's more important.
I agree. Because, I mean, once the patient leaves your office, it's kind of almost out of your control. So to be able to still have access to view that patient and see if they are doing okay, incredible. Just being able to click on a link and see if they access the information you gave them, to say numbers about, what's going on with that patient. So.
Yeah, they came out with those surveys. I want to say, well, I recognized them 5 years ago. Those surveys are so important. And people, I filled them out myself. I mean, I had my own personal experience, and I had a great doctor. And so what I did was, when I got the survey in the mail, I filled it out and said, I couldn't have gotten better care. So, I mean, I think they're important. I'm not sure who receives them or who reads them, though. I'm always about that. I fill it out.
Yeah, it does get read, because I worked at in urgent care, and we were kind of like, the new daughter of this hospital. So we were constantly reviewing patient surveys and seeing what the patients were getting, and they would actually give us, our rating and comments that the patient said. I really like the way, the physician XYZ, or I didn't like the way I was greeted at the front door. She didn't smile, or she didn't make eye contact, and just those little comments, it kind of opens your eyes, because even though you're kind of doing the same thing every day, sitting up at the front and registering patients, you have to remember that even though you've done this already 15, 20 times today, this patient is seeing you for the first time. So you just have to kind of keep in mind that that's it's important for the patient.
Well, I would agree.
I've been busy all day, and I'm like,
So I think the next thing was to discuss a brief definition of patient experience. I think we kind of went over that, but what I put was a patient evaluation of all interactions and experiences while receiving their healthcare needs.
And it's also the patient perspectives and how we make the patients feel. Yeah, I think you've touched on that quite a bit. You've done a great job with that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think I just kind of try to put it in my words what I understood, and I just put a compassionate interaction that influences patients' perceptions across the continuum of care.
Like
So,
that.
Nice definition.
yeah, that's what I was leaning towards. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
And then we have, what is HCAHPS? Well, we just kind of went over that. That's pretty much a survey of what goes out to our patients.
The HCAHPS, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you?
My own words.
Yeah, it's just a standardized survey, and publicized, and now they're considering it in hospitals and regional and national, and I think local too, obviously.
Right.
So,
And then we what areas of patient experience are hard to measure and why?
Oh, okay. I put memorable experiences are hard to measure because they are personalized.
But we have pain that's undetected and empathy. We have
Mhm.
to remember those. We don't know, certainly what the pain is that they are enduring when we're there. Only they know that. And if we're very compassionate, and it doesn't even matter how compassionate we are, we're not always going to experience what they're going through. But we always have empathy. And then I put caregivers do have, and I work with them and I've trained them. They have anxiety because they don't know what to expect or what these people are going through. So there's an anxiety that is there. And I don't blame them one bit. I understand that, And then, you look at a person with Alzheimer's disease or dementia or anything else going on, and then they have a sense of, do I trust this person? Do they know what they're doing? So we have to look at that as well. So that's what I came up with.
That's really good.
I agree. Really good.
Thank you.
I put one specific thing that I put that I found would be kind of hard to measure, and why specifically would be like specific single points of contact or interactions with somebody. Because when you're given those surveys, you're kind of your overall view of what happened. And for some people, they might have had a great experience with the provider, but not such a great experience with the front desk staff or vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's hard to measure that because most people, some people, not most people, some people, when they get those surveys, they kind of, the worst thing that happened is in the front of their brain. So they're like, when I get this survey, this is what I'm going to talk about. So, because you need a vent, and you don't want somebody else to experience what you experienced.
Exactly.
So in a way, you're venting, but you're also doing it to provide better care for the next person. So I think, if it was, you were able to strictly go down to specific interactions with people, it's hard to measure that. So that's what I put down.
Well, it's like you get a waitress, you're sitting there and you want a cup of coffee. She's in a bad mood and she slams it right on the table. Gets all over. Yeah, I mean, it is. And it's funny, in every facility, you might have a great department. You might go in there and the receptionist is having a bad morning, which takes it out on you, which just keeps going.
Mm-hmm.
Or, it's undetermined how one department is going to be to another. And I've experienced that recently, so I know.
Mm-hmm.
I walk on eggshells.
So.
Yeah, it's true, unfortunately.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I think those are really good overall. I think better than mine for sure. I think the next one is the key factors that contribute to a positive patient experience.
Yep.
I don't know if you want to list any.
I put, obviously interactions with, staff members, and your perceptions of how those interactions went. Also, the environment, the culture environment of where you're going. You can go to a facility and all the staff members get along with each other, and it just provides a better atmosphere rather than groups and stuff like that. Patients pick up on that. So, and also, like we talked about before, the continuum of care, the before, after, and during experiences for the patient. That's what I put down.
One of the key things that I put down was knowledge and compassionate. Being compassionate, being knowledgeable about what you know, obviously what knowledgeable is, and being compassionate about how they're feeling. Are they feeling stressed? Of course, any healthcare, the patient is always feeling stressed. What's wrong with me? You kind of know what's wrong. You're trying to deal with that. So compassion is really big on my list. Being very gentle with anybody that comes in and being very private. So,
Yeah, I think we all have similar ones because I had also emotional support,
Right.
clear communication, and establishing trust. I think those were the ones I put.
I think those are really important. I think they're all important. Everything that we've come up with is very important. I mean, you think about yourself sitting there in that seat with that Johnny on. We're all there. We've done it. We all want to know. Yeah, well.
Yeah, you feel vulnerable. You feel like, yeah. Oh, that's how I felt vulnerable during.
Who doesn't sitting there? I want to know.
Oh.
Oh gosh.
So, so let's see what's the next thing.
What's next?
So what would be a one case study program to use as an example on the website, the web page?
I would have to vote for yours just because I love how it captures the patients and then the after treatment, like they're still being reached out. I really love that. Like it's an overall picture.
And I would agree with that. I like yours a lot, Brittany, because I mean, although mine covers in-home employees, I like yours because it covers more with the patients and their experience, their whole experience.
Okay, great. Yeah, I do think it's, you know, I agree with you guys as well, just because it carries, you know, the continuation for the patient. You know, it doesn't just stop when they leave the door. So I just think focusing on patient experience, I would go that route as well.
This is what the whole project's about. Yeah, it really is.
So, and we covered that. So, so I guess just the writing assignments, just have to determine. So I don't know, they came with the 4 bullet points at the end of what we can do. Like who writes what, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So I figured since it was my case study, I can write the paragraph for that, since I have a better understanding of it. And then each of us can write one of the other 3 bullet points. Does that seem fair?
I can write the first 2 ones if you want.
Okay.
The first bullet points, because I've already got them. So I can just reiterate. So I'll do the first 2.
Okay. And then Ari, do you want to do the areas of patient experience?
And
that's hard to measure.
Yeah, definitely.
Great. And then
I'm just trying.
So you, Catherine, do you remember how to do that shared document?
No.
No. Okay. So
I have my college daughter here, and she helped me a lot.
Okay. So if you want, I can put that all together. Did you guys want to email me your sections, and then I can put the page together?
Yeah. So, and also, do you want my citations from the bulletproofs that I do?
Yeah. So if you guys could add that in, that would be helpful.
I do have that. So I'm going to do. I'm trying to find my notes on that right now, and I've got the first 2 bulletproofs.
Together, they have to be 2 paragraphs, right? Like our bullet.
Yeah, it says the final web page text includes 1 to 2 paragraphs of each of the following.
Is that for each bulletproof?
Yeah, each of the following is either 1 or 2 paragraphs. So 1 paragraph each is.
So I have the first 2. Okay, so you need 1 to 2 paragraphs of each of the bulletproofs.
Yeah.
And then you need the citations.
Yeah, if you guys could do that. And then, I mean, I can put the whole page together.
Okay.
And then I think, Ari, you're the team coordinator, so I think you have to submit everything.
Yes, I do.
So after I get that whole page together, I'll email it to you, and then you can submit it.
Yeah, I'll just collect them all. Did
Okay.
you? So I'll do the paragraph for that bulletin that I have,
Okay.
and then in that case, would I be receiving your emails, and then I just copy and paste all of it in a page?
You know what? I think you can just, one of you can just invite us into the Word right online.
I don't know how to do that, but I mean, I can try. But what I can do is, I don't mind putting the whole document together and then submitting it to Ari, so that we can just send
Okay.
everything.
Yeah.
So how am I going to send mine to you? Who am I
You
sending?
can send it in an email. Just send me your paragraph and your citations.
Okay, so I'm going to do that regular in CFA, and just
And just send it to me in the email.
okay, I can do that tonight.
Okay, great. And then I'll put the whole book together, the whole page together.
Okay.
When I receive both of yours, and then once I get that all together, I'll just send it to Ari, and then she can submit it.
Okay, and yeah, and then just get back to me if I didn't put something in that I should have, and I definitely will. And are we going to just do this all through CFA mailing here, just to get it?
Yeah, through the email. I mean, I think we have the CFA email till the 18th, so I think.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
it all goes to crap. Yeah, that's
We
right.
did.
Oh my God, I read that one. I'm going to be so confused after that. I just want this done.
You're graduating, so you don't have to worry about it.
No, I have till the 18th. Let's see what we
Okay.
Okay, I'm nervous. I
All
don't
right,
want
so if you guys want to
project.
you guys want to end the live recording so it doesn't get too long?
Yeah, I'm going to stop it right now. It says stop
Okay.
broadcast.